Okay, everybody, I'm doing corned beef and cabbage. First of all, we have to get the cabbage leaves cooked in water prior to starting the whole process. What I did is I cut the white part as the leaves were coming off and then just put the leaves over here to dry while I'm making the meat mixture. Okay, I'm doing it like a triple batch here. So what we're going to do is we've got our meat inside the bowl here. We've got 3 eggs. We're going to put a little bit of breadcrumbs in, not much because we're going to put rice in afterwards. Next, we're going to put in salt and pepper and garlic powder. After we mix this up, we're going to be adding our rice, which is cooking right now, and it's not quite done, so as soon as that's done we will get that started. So I'll bring you back as soon as the rice is done so we can add it all in and mix it up to get ready to put our cabbage. Now we have 1 cup of rice and 2 cups of water, and now the rice is finished cooking. As you can see, there's no water left in the pan at all. So now what we have to do is we have to allow this to cool so that we're able to put it into our meat mixture to start making our meat for the stuffed cabbages. Okay, so while we're waiting for the rice to cool, we're going to cut this vein off of our cabbage because it won't cook up real well and it'll make it difficult to be able to make the stuffed cabbage. So we're just going to take our knife and cut down like that, and we're going to save these to put them on the bottom of the pan that we're going to be cooking them in. So I've got a little bit of work ahead of me, so we'll bring you back when we're ready to mix up the rest of the meat. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add in approximately 1/2 cup of white onion and 1/2 cup of red onion. And we're going to mix this all together until we get a good consistency. And I'll bring you back as soon as I'm done with this because it's going to take a little bit of time. I have a lot of meat here because I'm making a triple recipe. Okay, as you can see, it's all mixed together in there, incorporated quite well. Now we're going to add our rice. And we're going to start approximately with 1 cup at a time because we don't want to overrun the meat with rice. Now, as you can see, the meat is somewhat dry looking, but we'll take care of that as soon as we get the rice incorporated. So we're going to go with another cup of rice. And we'll mix this in. I'm quite sure a lot of our viewers are going to look at this and say, oh, you're using your bare hands. Well, I scrub my hands real well and I make sure that they are completely clean with nothing to contaminate the meat, because I fear that if those people who use... Okay, a lot of people don't understand that the reason why I use my hands is because I would prefer clean hands with your nails scrubbed real well and everything else in you, rather than having gloves, because you run the risk when you wear nitrile gloves or any other kind of glove that it could possibly tear or rip, and then you've got particles of plastic or nitrile in your meat. So I use my hands. We've mixed in approximately 2 cups of rice, and I see that it could use maybe a half a cup more rice in the mixture, so that's what we're going to put in. And then after that, we get this mixed in, and then we're going to move forward to get this a little bit moister. Now, remember always the key to any recipe is adding moisture so that when it cooks, it doesn't turn rock hard. So we're going to start with a cup of water, approximately, and we'll get this mixed in and see what it feels like when I'm done. Okay, I'm adding approximately maybe about a 3/4 cup of water left more in here, and that should make it just about right as far as the moisture content of the meat. And then when I bring you back, we'll have everything set up so that we can make, and I can show you how to make the stuffed cabbage portion. So you understand how moist this has to be. You take your meat and you go like this. If you can see moisture on the meat where it'll hold together and it doesn't feel like it's a rock hard, and it's moist and squishy like this, this is the proper consistency for any type of ground meat, whether it's for meatloaf, meatballs, or even stuffed cabbages. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to take these pieces and we're going to place them in the bottom of the pan, because we don't want our stuffed cabbage touching the bottom of the pan so that they burn. So we're just going to take the hard pieces that I showed you to cut off, and we're going to line the bottom of the pot. Once we have that done, we'll move forward to making the stuffed cabbage. And there we go. Okay, so on a clean surface, preferably a table, or I'm using my cook stove, we're going to lay a cabbage leaf out, and then we are going to pull approximately a handful of meat out of our bowl, and we're going to place it inside the cabbage roll. So I added just a little bit more because it needed that. So we're going to take it from the hard end where we cut off, and we're going to roll it over until it reaches the other side. Now sometimes you got to mash it down a little bit to make it come over all the way. Then we're going to take the ends. I see I got a little bit too much. We're going to take the ends and we're going to poke them in like this. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then we've got a cabbage roll. I'm going to place that in the bottom of the pan just like that. Let's do that one more time. Here we've got a piece of a leaf. We're going to take our meat, we're going to place it in the middle, enough for what the size leaf is. We're going to make sure that it's covering a good size. We're going to take it from the vein side and we're going to roll it over just like that until it comes like this. Then we're going to take the ends, poke them in just like this. So we've got a cabbage roll. And that's what I'm going to do with the rest of these leaves. And once I come back and I have them all inside the pot here, we'll show you how to finish this off to begin cooking. Okay, so as you can see here, here's our stuffed cabbages. And we ended up with this much meat left. Now what we're going to do is we're going to wait until it comes to a boil, and then we'll make it like meatballs. So that'll be used in here after we've brought all of this up to a boil. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add tomato sauce, which is, this is my homemade tomato sauce. I've already taken my basil leaf out. And we'll allow that to soak down in, and then I've got one more can of tomato sauce to put in. As you can hear it, it runs down through the crevices of the pot where the food is. We're going to add a little bit more tomato sauce into that. Now, once we get that done, I'm going to take about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of sugar, and I'm going to put it into the sauce. And we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of that on top. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cook this on the stove on low or medium low to medium, actually. And we're going to cook it for approximately 2 hours at a low simmer, because we don't want this to burn or anything else like that. And the slower you cook it, the better the stuffed cabbage comes out. One more thing that I need to address is we're going to put about a teaspoon of black pepper in here. And we're going to also put a teaspoon of my real kosher sea salt in here, because we have to season the salt. We season the meat, but we have to also season the salt. And when this comes to a boil, then we're going to reduce it down to medium low and cook it for, as I stated before, about 2 hours. Well, as you can see, our stuffed cabbages are done. And like I told you, I would make meatballs out of the leftover meat. And here's actually one of our cabbages. And I'm going to pull this one of these cabbages out of the pot, and I'm going to cut it open and have a taste, and we'll see how things came out. Okay, so here's our cabbage. Take a look at that. Look at that. Nice and moist. That's what we're looking for. And the cabbage is extremely tender. So let's take a taste of this and see how it tastes. Excellent. Just the way stuffed cabbage is supposed to look. I hope you enjoyed my video on making stuffed cabbages. And as always, enjoy your meal and have a good day. Bye-bye now. Just one side note in addition to the video that I've just done. You can see that when I told you about putting the cabbage ends, or the tough side of the cabbage down, so that the cabbage itself would not stick. And that's exactly what its purpose is. As you can see, none of it has stuck to the bottom of the pan. So, just so you know, good tip for anybody who's baking this. Bye. Okay, while we're waiting for the rice to cool down, we're going to cut this vein off of the cabbage, because we don't